$789 a month.
Okay, it's 7 o'clock, Tuesday, February 11th. I'll call the meeting to order. Madam Clerk, you'll call the roll.
Charlie Davidson,
Here.
George Glover,
Here.
Charles Schwenke, Terry Osborne,
Here.
Troy Hill,
Here.
Randy Bailey, Jim Schrader.
Here.
Mr. Mayor, you have a quorum.
Thank you, Councilman Schwenke and Councilwoman Bailey notified me in advance that they would not be here tonight due to a scheduling conflict. So we will proceed, call the meeting to order, and our invocation will be by Pastor Farrell, and the Pledge of Allegiance I will lead. If you all stand, please.
Heavenly Father, we're just gathered here tonight for this meeting, Lord. And Lord, I just ask you to bless this time that we have here together. And Lord, just continue to bless this city as it economically is growing. And Lord, I just ask you to bless the leaders here and give them wisdom and to continue to lead this city in the direction that you see fit, Lord, to fit your needs and this world's needs as well, Lord. So I just ask you to bless them in your special way, Lord. Pray for these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. Okay, we'll start with approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion? Okay. Terry, you have the addition. Are you aware of that?
Yes, I see the addition here.
Okay.
Yes.
Go ahead, Terry.
I move to approve the agenda with the addition of item number 10.
Okay, Charlie?
I'll second that.
See no further discussion. Motion by Terry, seconded by Charlie. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 5-0. All right. We have no awards and presentations tonight. Nobody has signed up for public forum. Staff report, Sean?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. As far as project updates around the area, the first is the water meter replacement program. In just over the past month, the number of meters remaining to be installed has only decreased by just about 75, but much of that has to do with the latter part of December and January, the vast majority of it being similar to Lambeau Field and Green Bay frozen tundra. So then, in addition to that, the number of Neptune 360 registrations also remains low, but staff is working with our social media coordinator, Matt, to create on a how to register for accounts video so we can put that out on the website and Facebook. Second update is on the 93rd Street lift station. The final pieces and parts have all been received for the new lift station, and the contractor anticipates finishing the project in the next month, weather dependent. After that, we have the hydraulic water line project. Wildcat Construction has finished stormwater drainage improvements this past week and will install the new sidewalks over the next 2 to 3 weeks. Again, weather dependent. As far as the 2024 rehab phase 2, staff met with Pearson Construction to go over the construction timing and granted them permission to start removing trees necessary for the Grove Street extension. Pearson anticipates much of the actual street rehabilitation work will actually be done in March, though, starting with Jacksonville adjacent to Quick Trip. For stormwater drainage improvements, as it is on tonight's agenda, JEO will be presenting, on Phase 2, and Wilson & Company are working up on wrapping up the final designs for Phase 1 project plans. Staff is scheduled to meet with them in March to review and comment on suggested improvements. Phase 3 is being designed by BHC Engineering and staff anticipates that coming before council sometime later in the year, towards the end of summer, first part of fall. The weather forecast tonight is somewhat bleak, moving in between 9 p.m. and midnight tonight, and has been forecasted anywhere between 3 and 6 inches. So I just ask you to keep Public Works in your mind, as they are already on alert and will be ready to go. The night staff came in at about 7 o'clock tonight, and they'll be working 12-hour shifts to make certain that that's accommodated. So pending any questions at all, I have, Mayor.
Thank you. Any questions of Sean? Good. Next is consent agenda. Do I have a motion? Jim
I move that we approve the consent agenda.
and Troy.
A second.
Motion by Jim, second by Troy. Seeing no further lights lit up. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Next to new business is to appoint and confirm Melissa Patterson as the new city treasurer. And she is here tonight. If you want to come up and introduce yourself.
Hi, I am, I'm going all right.
Yes, ma'am, we put you on the spot.
Melissa's a longtime resident of Park City and
Yes.
lives down in Wyndham.
Wyndham Creek, we have been in Park City for coming up on 18 years. I am a public educator, so I teach high school at Wichita Alternative High School, where I teach business technology, and I also teach at WSU for the Wichita TAP program. So I teach teachers how to be teachers. So I was looking towards something to volunteer and get involved in the community, and this came up, and so it just seemed like a perfect opportunity to serve. And I appreciate the mayor giving me the chance to do that. So thank you.
Thank you for stepping up.
Yep.
We appreciate that. Anybody have questions of Melissa? Now's the time to grill her. Okay, all right,
All
I'd
right.
entertain a motion.
Thank you.
I don't have any questions, so I'd move to approve the appointment of Melissa Patterson as the city treasurer.
Terry,
Second.
okay. Motion by Jim, seconded by Terry. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Thank you for serving. Okay, next, item 2, discuss and consider an board appointment to the Convention and Tourism Board. And if you'll see, down below in the motion is Erica Maley. Erica is present tonight, and she is currently the marketing director of marketing for Jill Hatton Companies, or Don Hatton. Would you mind coming up? Thank you for being here tonight.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Any questions? She will fill the position, I believe it was vacated by John Oswald. No, that's not correct. I don't even remember this one, which one was vacated, but, okay, fantastic. Well, we're glad to have you step up, and especially you work at Don Hatton here in Park City, so very excited for that partnership. Great.
We're excited to be here.
Yes, and I know I said Director of Marketing. Can you tell me a little bit about your position?
So yeah, it's a little bit complex. So as you guys well are aware, Jill Hatton started expanding her business portfolio a few years ago. I've been lucky enough to be a part of almost all of those. So I joined the team about 7 years ago. We only had 4 stores at that time, and I now oversee 12 different businesses for her. So it's a very vast portfolio, from cars to clothing to now a restaurant as well. We also just announced last week that we were opening up a tech college for automotive technicians. So we're pretty innovative, fast-moving. So we're excited to be a part of the community. I met John through actually his neighbor, who's one of my employees. He was wanting to do a little fun Facebook video with him, and so I invited John to come and talk with me, and through that, we came up with this lovely idea that I needed to join this board. So I'm really excited.
Good deal.
See how I did that?
Yeah. Look at you go.
So we're very excited for the partnership and look forward to working together with Don Hatton Companies and Jill Hatton's company. And thank you for stepping up and serving on the board.
Of course.
With that, if there's no questions, I would entertain a motion. Charlie.
I move to approve the appointment of Erica Maley as a member of the Convention and Tourism Advisory Board, expiring in 2027.
Thank you. And George Glover.
I'll second it.
Motion by Charlie, seconded by George Glover. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. Motion passes 5-0. Thank you for serving. Okay, next on to item 3, a presentation by JEO of Stormwater Phase 2 projects.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The previously approved stormwater drainage master plan identified needed improvements on Channel 4 and Channel 6 within the city. The evaluation included recommendations for the channels, including crossing structure improvements, grading, and the addition of drop structures, while also being mindful of the long-term maintenance requirements. Park City entered into a contract with JEO Consulting Group for Phase 2 improvements. The general scope of work includes channel grading and structure replacements from Hydraulic Avenue to Mobile Drive. 12 concrete drop structures will be placed within the channel to slow the stream velocity. Existing culverts will be removed and replaced at East Parkview, Hartford Drive, and Mobile Drive. Additionally, a washout-prone culvert crossing in Jardine Park will be replaced with a low-water crossing. Brad Shores with JEO is here to present a brief overview of the project scope.
Brad Shores, JEO here in Wichita, Kansas. Hey, that's way better than what I just handed out. So that is our project right there. And on that map on your screen, the 3 red circles are the structures that we're replacing. Those are aging structures. We're upsizing them significantly. We're putting in highly durable concrete box structures for those 3 locations. And then kind of that green line on that which is the channel on your digital display there, that's where we're doing the channel improvements. So this is going to help flooding in the area. This is going to reduce the likelihood of flooding, the likelihood that the roads overtop in a large storm event. It's going to significantly improve the city's capacity to get into the channel and maintain it with their equipment. Right now, that's not very feasible at all. So it accomplishes a number of things, and it was part of a study that I think Wilson had performed in the past and presented to you already. So this is going out for construction. We'll let this soon. It'll go out for construction this year, and we should see construction happen this summer. I'll entertain any questions you might have.
You said this will go out this summer when?
I think we anticipate it'll be worked on. The actual work will be done this summer. I think we're going to go out to bid here pretty soon, actually.
You'll begin construction this summer? When you say will be done this summer?
Yes, and I should have brought the schedule. I believe we said we're going to be done by November. Does that ring a bell, Gina? End of November is when we are telling the contractor to be complete by.
Wow.
For this phase.
Wow, that's significant. Okay. Any questions? Council? Jim?
Just as a recap, as I'm remembering this, we've got to start with the infrastructure first and the ability to get the water out of the city, and then we start expanding out from there. Am I kind of remembering the overall process correctly?
Say that again?
We've got to get you're going to start at the base of where the water is to get, there's no point in building the water up, or the drainage upstream, and then not be able to get it out of town. So we're starting at the lower areas and working our way out.
He could answer that question. I'm not really
Yeah,
sure.
so I apologize. I wasn't part of the overall study. This will help flooding in this area without
Okay.
question, and it'll get water out of there. I probably shouldn't be the one to speak to the broader impacts for the city of Park City.
I'm nearly certain I'm remembering right. I just kind of wanted it on the record. So no, I don't have any other questions, but I'll see if anybody else does.
Any other questions? Okay. Troy?
If there's no questions, I move to receive and file the presentation by JEO.
Terry?
Second.
Seeing no further lights lit up? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. Motion passes 5-0. Okay, item 4, discuss and consider approval of the Champtown Second Edition, a final plat for property located between 53rd Street North and 61st Street North, west of I-135 Highway in Park City, Kansas.
Thanks, Mayor. Council members. You'll recall this first edition of Champtown was approved last spring, April 9th, and recorded last fall in September. The developer is looking to add a street segment, which you can see kind of in the bottom left or right-hand side of this particular slide. Lenore Drive is being proposed to basically facilitate greater capacity for the ball fields to the west and the entertainment district to the east. The only other difference from this plat besides the street is it adds one additional lot. The first lot, or Lot 1, Block A of the original plat's bisected by this street segment, necessitating a second block. With that, I'll answer any questions that you may have. The Planning Commission did recommend the plat 6-0.
All right. Jim?
I don't have any questions, so I would move to approve the final plat as presented.
Thank you. Terry?
Second.
Okay, motion by Jim, second by Terry. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. On to item 5, discuss and consider approval of text amendments to the City of Park City zoning regulations to permit staff-approved adjustments.
Thank you, Mayor. This amendment to the zoning regulations falls into two parts. One is a new creation of a section of the code that would allow staff, myself in particular, the zoning administrator in the future, to make various small modifications to the various standards in the zoning regulations. Typically, this has to do with setback reduction, parking reduction, modifications to screening and landscaping requirements, and the like. That full text of what is proposed was provided to you in your agenda packet. We can certainly go through those individually if you want. But basically, it's a method to try to unburden not only developers and applicants, as well as the Board of Zoning Appeals, to minimize the number of Board of Zoning Appeal variances that we issue. Have we had a lot of those BZA variances in my 5 years? Not necessarily, but again, it expedites development or building permit applications and issuance. So the Planning Board, or the Planning Commission in November started indicating a desire to see what that would look like. We presented them with a draft of the modifications to the zoning regulations during the December meeting. We held a public hearing last month where they recommended approval. The second set, you'll recall during our site plan review for the senior center, that our zoning regulations didn't allow for modification of the rear or front setback. So we changed one small section in the downtown DD district to accommodate future modifications for future site plan review applications. I'll stand for any questions that you may have.
Well, guess you answered all the questions. Troy?
I don't have any questions. I move to approve ordinance 1208-2025.
Good. Jim?
I felt the same way. It was a good presentation, and the Planning Commission recommended approval, so I would second that.
Very good. This will be a roll call vote. Madam Clerk?
Jim Schrader,
Aye.
Terry Osborne,
Aye.
Troy Hill,
Aye.
George Glover,
Aye.
Charlie Davidson.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. Item 6, discuss and consider approval of purchase of snowplow and cutting edge.
Good evening again, Mayor and Council. Our current snow removal operations rely on 3 plows, which cut and push the snow off of the roadway. Staff is requesting to purchase a new plow and carbide cutting edge to replace one of the existing plows that had been damaged in a previous storm. The damaged plow has since been discontinued, making repairs unfeasible. Attached are estimates from New Hydraulics for the purchase of a plow and Cooper North America LLC for the purchase of a plow cutting edge. While both estimates utilize Sourcewell pricing, staff did obtain multiple quotes for comparison to make sure that this was the best pricing. Staff recommends approval of the purchase of a plow and cutting edge utilizing Sourcewell pricing in an amount not to exceed $12,747.47 to be paid from the Capital Equipment Fund. And I would like to mention that in addition to improving our plowing abilities, staff is researching brine making stations, putting together cost comparisons and return on investments. It's always my goal to find efficiencies, so I hope to come back by June with something to present in terms of brine, adding brine into our operations. I stand for any questions you may have.
George Glover.
So how many plows do we have now?
We have 3, including the damaged one.
Okay, so 2 that are actual, you can run?
Correct.
Okay, I don't have any questions. If any time better now is when we have snow on the ground, especially we have 9 or 10 inches. So I would go ahead and make a motion to approve the purchase of a plow and cutting edge utilizing Sourcewell pricing in an amount not to exceed $12,747.47 to be paid from the Capital Equipment Fund.
Thank you, George. Troy?
Can I second for question?
Yes.
A second for a question. How many times have we replaced one of those?
So 2017 is the last time that we had replaced plows.
They got a pretty good life.
Yeah,
This is quite an upgrade from the previous owned one.
it is. Our current plows trip often. So if we hit something, if we get too low and we hit something, the whole plow actually trips over. This plow has an anti-trip feature. The cutting edge has carbide, and it also has shoes that protect it. So sometimes what we see with a traditional plow and cutting edge is if it wears down, they naturally wear down. If you wear it down too much, you can get into your mold board and end up ruining your plow. And so with this setup, we'll have guards on it that if the cutting edge were to wear down, we won't get into damaging the plow itself. We would just start damaging those guards and then switch out the blade.
Awesome.
This has a cutting edge. So, very good. How long does it take to get this?
I'm not certain on lead time. I'm hoping the next 2 to 4 weeks. It sounds like the plow would deliver pretty quickly after we issue a PO. I'm not sure on the cutting edges.
Very good. Terry, did you have a question?
Yeah, I mean, based on, down to 2 plows and Sean's forecast from earlier this evening, how does that impact us in the overnight tonight and tomorrow?
It makes it difficult when we have a plow that goes down, because there's a lot of components to it. There's hydraulics. So when we lose power to the plow or something happens, if we damage a blade and we have to, a cutting edge and we have to swap that out, it definitely impacts us. There were times in the last storm that we were running on one, makes it very difficult. So it would be nice to have all 3 of them up and going. One other thing that we do have in our toolbox is our motor grader. It's typically used for our dirt roads, but we can use that for snow removal as well. And so we did pull that out in lieu of being down a plow the last time.
Okay, thank you.
Very good. Seeing no further questions, motion by George, seconded by Troy. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Thank you. Item 7, discuss and consider approval for a 5-year contract with GovPilot for work order software. Gina.
Recently, the city decided to end our contract with our previous work order software provider. For the last few months, staff has been manually creating and tracking work orders while evaluating other software providers. GovPilot software tracks, schedules, and keeps records of tasks performed by staff, allowing for customizable reports to track quantities or aid in the budgeting process. The program includes our maps with parcel information, allows us to attach photos and other vital documents. The software is completely mobile and customizable, making it simple for employees to review orders and document completion notes within their existing tech equipment. The annual cost for services is $10,000, which is less than we were paying for our previous provider. However, staff is requesting the ability to have GovPilot import all of the work orders that had been previously created in our other software at a one-time cost of $4,000. This is a budgeted expense to be split among 5 fund centers. Staff recommends approval. I stand for any questions you may have.
Terry?
Is this a cloud-based solution or an on-prem solution?
It's a cloud-based solution. So our employees, we have iPads. We're able to send them out with the iPads. They can pull up their work orders. They can document notes on it.
Okay. Thank you.
Charlie?
Why did we end the contract with the other provider?
Customer service.
Okay.
Jim?
I don't have any questions, so I'll go ahead and stick a motion out there to approve and authorize the mayor to sign and execute a contract with GovPilot for work order software in the amount of $14,000 for the first year.
George Glover?
Yeah, I'll second the motion.
Okay. Motion by Jim, seconded by George. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Item 8, discuss and consider approval of a contract with PEC for engineering services.
So in your packet attached is a proposed agreement with PEC for engineering services related to geographic information systems, also known as GIS, mapping of our water and wastewater system. PEC had developed our original GIS system, creating a comprehensive database. The agreement generally includes GIS mapping, updates to the existing GIS layers, guidance on operations and best practices, training on the systems and applications, GPS data collection, and an update to the city's master GIS infrastructure layers, which include our water, wastewater, stormwater, and streets. This would be paid equally from the water, sewer, and stormwater utility fund, and staff is recommending approval.
Thank you, Gina. Jim?
2 questions. One is just give us a recap on the GIS system and what we're trying to accomplish here.
So the GIS system gives us a map of all of our utilities, which is important. Locates, for example. We average about 320 locates in a month. So on any given day, we're looking at that map 15 times to go out and mark and flag utilities for whomever's out doing their projects.
Okay.
We're also utilizing the system as we're doing new infrastructure. We're looking to see what size of water line do we have? Do we need to upsize our water line? Where is it located? You know, when we're out there constructing, are we on this side of the road, that side of the road? And it also includes our newer subdivisions. So where we need to play a little bit of catch-up is on our newer subdivisions, where we have as-built that we can refer to for our locates, but we don't have a centralized mapping system.
I remember how important this was when we started this project a few years back, so I kind of wanted that restated. The only other question I had is why did it not specify a dollar amount?
It's on an as-needed basis. So what we are proposing is moving forward as we have developments, the engineering firm would be required to submit shape files that we could easily import into our GIS, but there would be some slight work that would be needed. One example would be, we had a project where the water line was indicated on the east side of the road and it was really on the west side of the road.
Okay.
And so we have those small tweaks.
Okay, I'll stand down in case there's any other questions. That's all I had.
Terry?
Would this have, having this in place prior, would this have helped us with yesterday's scenario? I mean, identifying where we needed to dig to fix?
I don't know that it would have impacted yesterday's scenario, but it does have an impact on our other water main breaks, our other issues. We don't currently have all of our valves accurately mapped. That would map our valves, which are important for when we do need to isolate the water. So we know where we can go to shut off this valve and this valve to be able to do a repair in between the two. We currently don't have accurate maps of all of our valves.
Okay. Now, I get, maybe I misunderstood, but I thought there was a little bit of, searching as to, we knew where the break was, but we had to figure out where to shut it off at?
And that's the valve issue.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep, okay.
Okay. Jim?
Well, if there's no more questions, I would move to approve and authorize the mayor to execute an agreement with PEC to be equally paid from water, sewer, and stormwater utility funds.
Thank you, Troy.
Second?
Okay, motion by Jim, seconded by Troy. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, motion passes 5-0.
Thank you.
Item 9, discuss and consider amendment to the 6th supplemental water supply and wastewater service agreement between Park City and the Chisholm Creek Utility Authority. Sean?
Yes, sir. Back in July of last year, Park City and Bel Air approved the 6th supplemental agreement implementing a cost allocation with an annual year-end true-up based on both usage of water and wastewater services provided to each city, as well as providing for improved metering of wastewater flows and for the testing of wastewater strength flowing from each city into the CCUA plant. The agreement at the time was contingent upon moving forward with the design plans for the upgrade and the improvements to the CCUA sewer plant. Specifically, Section 1.16 stated that the agreement shall terminate on March 1st, 2025, if the wastewater treatment plant expansion plan had not been designed in compliance with KDHE laws, regulations, and directives, and a construction contract for the expansion had not been entered into by CCUA. I am happy to report that the updated design has been approved by KDHE. The bid opening for the expansion is scheduled for February 25th. But once the bid opening is completed, there needs to be time for the bid tabulation to be completed, provide the final numbers to bond counsel and investors, and present a bond resolution for CCUA's approval. After the approval, the bond resolution also requires approval by the AG, making mid-March the earliest possible closing for both bonds and construction contract approval, which is beyond the March 1st deadline. Under the amendment, and that's the only thing that changes in it, Section 1.6 would be amended to change that last date to March 27th. Bel Air went ahead and approved at their first city council meeting, which was last Tuesday, and now they're asking Park City to do the same. There is no financial impact or fiscal impact to the amendment.
Thank you, Sean. Jim?
I just thought I'd add from the CCUA's, as the rep, we're on track. Sean gave a great summary of what's going on. We just, I think we set the timetable just slightly short, so that's really all this is doing, is giving us a few more weeks to execute this, and everything seems to be proceeding as planned now. But I'll stand for any other questions.
Did you make a motion?
I didn't yet, in case somebody wanted to add any questions about it.
George, Charlie?
It made sense to me. I was just gonna make a motion.
Go ahead.
I move to approve an amendment to the 6th supplemental water supply and wastewater service agreement between Park City and CCUA.
Thank you, Charlie. Jim?
I'd second that.
Very good. Any further questions? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 5-0. On to item 10. Discuss and consider resolutions approving the sale of Chisholm Creek Utility Authority Water and Wastewater Facilities Revenue Bond Series 2025.
Back in April of 2021, Council had approved Resolution 1067-2021 authorizing the sale of Chisholm Creek Utility Authority refunding and improvement revenue bonds for the construction to the improved enhanced wastewater treatment plant. But due to disagreements between member cities, that project was not completed at that time. And again, since then, the redesign of the facility improvements have been approved by KDHE and the project is ready to proceed. Attached is a resolution authorizing the sale of Series 2025 water and wastewater facility revenue bonds. And again, Bel Air had passed theirs last week, and now if council passes this now, it will go to CCUA for a special meeting tomorrow evening.
Very good, thank you. Troy?
I'll make a motion if nobody has any questions. Approving Resolution 1067-2021. Is that right?
It'd be 1247,
There you go.
that one right there.
Resolution, correction, make a motion to approve Resolution number 1247-2025.
Thank you. Jim?
I'd second it for the discussion, the only discussion being, Sean, just FYI, they did schedule a meeting. It's tomorrow at noon. It's a Zoom call. I think you said tomorrow evening. It's tomorrow at noon, but it's all proceeding.
Thank you. Seeing no further discussion? Motion by Troy, seconded by Jim. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Okay. Next, we're on to governing body reports. I'll start with Charlie.
Just be safe tonight with the weather moving in, and thank you to our Public Works for going on 12-hour shifts to help keep our streets clear so we can get to where we need to go. That's all I got.
Very good. George Glover.
Yeah, I want to welcome Melissa to our treasury position. Also, our with the snow forecast coming up, I always think it's important to check on our elderly or disabled residents that we have. Sometimes they don't get a lot of contact with other folks, especially they need to get to the store or something, and the snow is over their driveway. So I would encourage everyone to check on them. Thank you.
Thank you, George. Barry.
I don't have any additional comments.
Troy.
Nothing for now.
Jim.
I don't have anything to add tonight either.
Okay. Well, I will add a few comments. Our annual new home permits issued for 2024 was 153. Last year, we were 103. I'm sorry, in 2023, we were 103. In 2022, we were 32. 2021, we were 101. And then every year below that was 49, 67, 83. So as far back as we go, nothing's even close to 153. So I think that's hopefully a sign of good times ahead for us, we hope. Hopefully that'll continue.
Mayor,
Yes.
for January 2025, we're at 47 for 1 month.
Okay. Good. And I'll tell you, December, just December was 16. So that was quite a jump in January during the cold months. Of course, summer probably just getting the permits and getting going on them. Is that occupancy or is that actually pulling the permit?
That is just permits, sir.
Yeah, so they'll get started probably in February, March then. Okay, very good. Okay. Next thing I just want to say for those watching from home, a couple really awesome projects that are kicking off as we talked about tonight was the drainage and channel improvements, which has been a long time coming, something that we've been trying to work towards for at least my 20 years on the council. We're finally popping a plug on that and getting that rolling. So I'm very excited about that. And then prior to this meeting, we had a special meeting workshop where we discussed our aquatics facility. As many of you know, we've secured the land deal for the project for our aquatics facility, which will be just north of the BMX track along the frontage line of I-135. And we had some proposal or some options that we've kind of followed through with of the public surveys that went out last year and made some option selections for what direction we'd go with that. So that's moving ahead as well. So very exciting times and a lot of good stuff moving forward. So very excited. And that's all I have. So with that, I would entertain a non-debatable motion to adjourn. Terry.
I move we adjourn.
Jim.
I'd second that.
Motion by Terry, seconded by Jim. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
741.